This is quite a museum, a historical building or a historical site. So when I read the cue card, the first thing bringing to my mind was Văn Miếu Quốc Tử Giám. In English, we call it Temple of Literature. It was constructed by a king in the 11th century, and it had two functions back then. The first one is the first one was the first university for official and the member of elite, um, nobles, and the like. The second one, it is the temple dedicating the Chinese philosopher with his teaching methods is focusing on was focusing on ethical, moral, and education standard. Let's talk about the appearance. The main entrance is located in the Kutuzam street, so it is the heart of the city. In front of the temple, there was there are three courtyards with housing the numbers of wells, pavilions, and the gates, the big gates. So with the wells, it makes the air so clean and fresh. In the back of the temple, there is there are fuck, there there are mm, there are two courtyards with a hole. So uh, it is where the answers to Chu Van An, a rector of the first university, is placed. Um, there is widely believed came to fame is the stone turtle. Many people, uh, so many people, believe that touching the head of stone turtle could bring to you the luck uh, in the upcoming exam. So I consider myself as the super superstitious person. So this temple, definitely my own time favorite place where I want I want to get to before I sit in exam. And besides, with its tranquility, I can refresh myself and forget the stress that happened to my life. Um, do people in the country enjoy visit historical place? I know, maybe um, many people visit the historical sites because they want to gain the insight, knowledge in their field, in their study, just because of the breathtaking sceneries there. Besides, they can learn about their ancestor culture and the custom. So thereby it aroused people with the pride and the patriotism. How important it is to protect historical place. I think it's very important and the most important to preserve and restore the historical sites that is falling into disrepair because they are reflect our history and where we see to know about how the way our world happens. Uh, and it's important aspect. When we want to recollect the important aspects of our culture, and it's a kind of tourist attraction. It values not local and national economy by drawing visitors to these historical sites. How can people protect the local historical place? There's so many ways to protect a historical site by take part in some volunteer club and post and preserve to preserve our community historical sites. Or the easiest way is to post something on your Facebook, on your social network to to raise others awareness of the significance of these sites, and we have to respect local cultural custom and avoid damaging the site where we visit. Do you think historical can learn in museums? Yes, I think visiting museum is an excellent way of learning history about history because the notorious way by learn by heart is the so with the real artifact in the museum, it helps it seem make the history come alive, and it make the history um, seem more real to the visitor. The visitor after get to some museums and they are motivated to get to know more about history. They can find in book or on the internet to find more that fulfills their curiosities. Why do you think? Why do many of these like museum? There's some reasons. I think um, the significant one is museum. Museums is quite old-fashioned and traditional about. So traditional about. So um, in for example in typical museum, people just can walk around the museum and not allowed to touch the exhibits. But unlike us, children like to talk with their surrounding, so they find the museum's monotonous, just undoubtedly, undoubtedly. Who should be in charge of? I think government should shoulder the responsibility to preserve and restore the historical sites that is falling into disrepair. Um, and they can raise, I mean, they charge the visitor to pay for their visit to this site just to have more income to have their activities of government. Hmm. There's a ton of contributing factor when we design and construct a modern building. It depends on the space of use, and the design and the like. But I still believe the majority still focus on the cost and the budget. So the designer have to keep balance on the side. I mean, on the cost and the budget, which is more important, preserve old buildings than building new ones. I think both have its own merit. To preserve the old historical building, they can reduce the need of material, the new material, and save the cost. But with um, building a new one, it accommodates the new human need. So I think that is equally important.